Welcome to Folsom Field, home of the Colorado Buffaloes. I'm Chancellor Phil DiStefano, and I'm thrilled to welcome the return of the Boulder. Since 1981, we've been honored to host the Boulder finish line. The first person to cross the finish line at Folsom that year was Frank Shorter, who trained in Boulder prior to his Olympic marathon win 50 years ago. Since then, more than 1.3 million athletes have finished the race here, the same place where Ralphie runs every fall. CU Boulder is proud to support the Boulder and the Memorial Day tribute, and we salute those who've given their lives in service to our country. Enjoy your time here at CU and come back soon for a visit, a game, or maybe even a degree. Happy Memorial Day and go Buffs!
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to those of you here with us in Boulder. It is so wonderful to see all your smiling faces back here at Folsom Field for the first time since we last ran the Boulder in person, and that was in 2019. We also want to recognize and say hello to everyone watching on your screens near and far around the world. While much has changed since we last gathered here 3 years ago, one thing we know has not changed. Freedom, we know, is not free. Today we come together, as our country has done for more than 150 years, to honor our American warriors who paid the supreme sacrifice in defense of America's freedom. In addition, we salute and honor all U.S. warriors who have served or are now serving our country during peace and war. Along with remembering those service members, this year we are happy to be able to recognize and thank some of our own Colorado veterans who stepped up to the call when our nation needed them 80 years ago during World War II. We shall meet them in just a moment. Please direct your attention to the field for the arrival of the military formations and the presentation of our American flag. The colors will be presented by the University of Colorado Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps Color Guard. We are also pleased to have the Honor Guard of the Combat Logistics Battalion 453 stationed on Buckley Space Force Base in Aurora. Tradition is very important to the pageantry of the armed forces and to the Boulder. For those of you who have joined us at any of the past 15 Memorial Day tributes, you're familiar with Stuart Boone. Since the mid-2000s, we've been honored to have World War II veteran, Battle of the Bulge survivor, and Bronze Star recipient Stuart Boone perform our national anthem. At the age of 97, this year he couldn't make the trip from Ohio. But thanks to the magic of video, Stuart can still be with us via the last time he played for the Boulder. Please stand and join United States Army veteran Stuart Boone by singing along to our national anthem. Today's flyover was from the 120th Fighter Squadron at Buckley Space Force Base in Aurora. And our pilots today, with their nicknames, as we have a fabulous new movie out, Major Ben Drago Walters, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Flex Wheeler, Lieutenant Colonel Gregory Amp Gosner, and Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Korn Peterson. Let's give them a big round of applause. And by the way, I am informed that Stuart Boone, at age 97, is getting a pacemaker put in so that he can be right back here again live next year to play for us again. That's tough. We are honored today to have 3 Coloradans with us who did their part for the United States starting in the 1940s. And let's meet 2 of them now. Navy veteran Ralph Hallgren and Red Cross volunteer Valora Hallgren. They didn't meet until after World War II, yet their service story and their love story have led them to Louisville. And we are so very pleased to have them here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet Ralph and Valora Hallgren.
Married for 72 years, Ralph and Valora Hallgren like to share their love story. Well, at least Valora does.
He's never been a big talker, so I'm the one that does all the talking.
I let her.
When the U.S. entered World War II, Ralph had just turned 18. He joined the Navy and eventually traveled overseas to perform search and rescue efforts.
I was a young kid, didn't matter where they sent me. I had to go.
Still in high school, Valora volunteered on the home front.
I couldn't join the Army. They didn't take women like they do now, so it was do something, so it was the Red Cross.
She worked in the hospital, then later took a job at the War Production Board, all the while corresponding with soldiers.
Mail was very important. They would say, well, this buddy of mine don't get many letters. Would you write to him? And this buddy of mine. And, you know, it would just kind of snowball. And sure, I'll write, of course.
During the same time, Ralph flew to the Philippines.
Eventually went to Manila, where I was sent to Palawan. I was there for a year and helped decommission the base.
The month-long Battle of Manila, which resulted in the death of over 100,000 civilians and the complete devastation of the city, and what is known as the Palawan Massacre, Ralph doesn't go into much detail about, but says images from his time there stay with him.
I felt a sense of pride serving my country.
It wasn't until after the war that Ralph and Valora finally met.
I had a beer that I didn't want, and I gave it to him, and he thought, wow, this is a girl to date. She lets me drink her beer.
And they've been sharing drinks and sharing life together ever since.
We have 1 martini a day before dinner.
That keeps us alive.
Ralph and Valora say there is much the youth of today can learn from their generation.
Today, it's more of a me, and rather than what can we do for others. But I think they'll learn. I've got confidence in the young people today.
But they say the biggest lesson is that love can help ease the heartache of war.
We fell in love, and we're still in love.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring 2 of our nation's finest, married 72 years, Ralph and Valora Hallgren. And still sweethearts, Valora just told me. Since our country's founding almost 250 years ago, more than 40 million Americans have served in the U.S. Armed Forces to protect our shared freedom. In just a moment, recruits from the Army, the Marine Corps, the Navy, and the Air Force will take their oath of enlistment and begin their service to our nation. The commanding officer of Recruiting Station Denver is U.S. Marine Corps Major Tyler B. Folan. Major Folan will administer the oath of enlistment.
future airmen, soldiers, sailors, and Marines. Come to the position of attention and raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Colton Burns,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith
I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same.
and allegiance to the same.
That I will obey the orders
I will obey the orders
of the President of the United States
of the President of the United States
and the orders of
and the orders of
the officers appointed over me,
the officers appointed over me,
according to
according to
the regulations
the regulations
and uniform code
and uniform code
of military justice.
of military justice.
So help me God.
So help me God!
Congratulations.
Thank you, Major Folsom. And thank you to all of our newly enlisted servicemen and women. Congratulations on beginning this new path in service to the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon we also want to remember those who left the comforts of home and family to defend our freedoms and our way of life and never returned. We honor their courage and dedication, and we thank them for their sacrifice. We preserve their memory so we never forget. Please stand and join us in remembering our fallen heroes. The 21-gun salute today will be conducted by Combat Logistics Battalion 453. Taps will be played by longtime Boulder musicians Bill Wilkinson and Dave McLaughlin. Now we'd like to honor another of our Colorado neighbors. Like many of his generation, and just like some of the cadets who moments ago took their oath of enlistment, Luther Berglund joined the military as a teenager. His service to the United States and to his faith spanned 4 decades, covering World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. Let's take a moment now to meet Luther Berglund.
Walking through the Broomfield Veterans Museum with Luther Berglund is like stepping into a history book with the author.
That's a Korea outfit there.
Drafted just a few months after high school graduation, this history
That's the old Ike jacket I was talking about.
is Luther's history.
Army was vacation for us guys that were raised on the farm.
A member of the Army's 547 Field Infantry Battalion, Luther served on the European front during World War II.
We finished up the war, took a lot of prisoners, and hundreds, or maybe thousands.
It was during combat Luther made a life-defining decision.
Lord found me in a foxhole, I guess. I kind of came back to faith, and then I decided at that time I needed to do something with my life other than farming.
That something was to become a pastor, ultimately serving both God and his country as an Army chaplain during the Korean War.
I enjoyed conducting services in the field and being with the guys in the trenches, so to speak.
And it was in those trenches of Korea where the chaplain earned a Bronze Star, the military honor for heroic achievement.
It got to be kind of chaotic, and the South Korean troops were retreating through our ranks, and I got out and kind of directed traffic and got things going.
After Korea, Luther and his growing family moved to Boulder, where he continued to serve his country as a member of the Army Reserves. One night a week during the Vietnam War, Luther would travel to Fitzsimmons Army Hospital in Denver, where his job was to tell family members they had lost a loved one.
We were given an address and told that they had lost their child or husband, and that was very difficult.
You've had such a special role with bringing the Lord to so many people over the years. What do you think that's meant to them and to you?
Well, I hope a lot to them, but to me, we just sort of take it for granted that that's what we did, preaching and reaching out to people.
Luther Berglund spent 40 years serving his country during 3 different wars, and he says he wouldn't have it any other way.
I always liked the military very much because it just did a lot for me, and I hope I did a lot for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 40 years in the U.S. Army, Luther Berglund certainly has given a lot to our country. Please join me in showing our gratitude and appreciation to Erie resident Luther Berglund. Luther and I were joking that it wasn't that many years ago that we both had red hair, but not anymore. Oh well. Another oh well. Even though it's hardly windy at all here at Folsom Field, the winds at the Longmont Airport are too strong for our skydivers to come into the stadium today for safety reasons. So normally at this point, our skydivers will be jumping into the air to salute our U.S. Armed Forces. But unfortunately, the Mile High skydiving team is unable to safely jump into Folsom Field today. We want to thank Gary Mancuso and his team from Longmont for their many years of supporting the Boulder. The nation owes a special thanks to the men and women who have paid the ultimate sacrifice in our country's defense. Thank all of you for paying tribute with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony for this year, but we all look forward to seeing everyone here again in 2023. We hope you've all had a wonderful, reflective day. Be safe.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt